And we're live! Welcome to RockSim Live. I am Tim Van Milligan. I'm your host. This is where we talk about RockSim, RockSim Pro, and the Launch Visualizer. And today, as you can see, I've got a toy here. Must be getting close to Christmas. The toys are coming out. This is a rocket called the Spaceship 2-ish. Because it's not a scale model of the Spaceship 2, but kind of sort of looks like it. We're going to release this as a free plan next week in our Peak of Flight newsletter. So if you are not a subscriber, you want to make sure that you subscribe so that you can get this. It's a massive article. As I'm sitting here right now, I was putting the finishing touches on the newsletter, getting it ready to go out. And I think it's like 21 or 22 pages long. It's like double the size of a normal issue. Because this plan, it takes up a lot of room. I mean, we had to give you the templates, and like these fins only fit on one sheet. So it's like one page of the newsletter is going to be devoted to like one panel of fin. And there's like 4 pages of fin sheet templates, and there's templates for tools and wraps to go around the tube to mark things. So it's quite big. Also next week, the reason we did this plan is because we wanted to showcase our new screw-on tail cone retainers. I don't know if you can see that or not, but we've got a 3D printed retainer, and we actually have them in 3 different sizes. We've got, this one is a 3-inch down to a 29 millimeter. We have a BT60 down to 29 millimeter and a BT 70. Not 60, 70, 80, and 3-inch. They're the sizes, and they all go down to 29 millimeter. So it's something that we've not had before, so we wanted to release those. And those will come out on Tuesday as well as the newsletter. And then also on Tuesday, we're going to be releasing a brand new kit, but I can't talk about it yet. But it will be coming out, and we're working with a partner on it. So I can't wait to talk about that next week. It's a nice little rocket. Cool. And Christmas is coming up. If you haven't ordered yet, there's still a lot of time to order. We are fast here at Apogee Components. We get stuff out quick. Let me go to my website here, and I'll show you. If you go to the homepage, apogeerockets.com, we have a banner bar here. Here's the sign up for the newsletter. Let's see, is this showing up? Yeah, it's showing up. So there's also a free Christmas tree topper, and we've extended the coupon for that. But what I wanted to get was this one right here. This is the dates for shipping. So the 9th, which was just a few days ago, was basically the deadline for ground motors to guarantee or pretty much assure that you would get them on time. For priority mail, we still have up to the 16th, but sometimes the Postal Service, they speed up during the holidays. So sometimes, you can order pretty late and still get it in time through priority mail. You can always do overnight, but that's quite a bit more expensive. But yeah, we're ready for you. We've, right now is like a good time to order because we've just been stocking up on everything. This is a banner here for RockSim Pro. Right now we have, about a month ago, we started a new program to make it virtually free. Virtually free means that somehow I'm not showing up on this screen. See if I can fix that. Oh, there I am. my face is kind of hidden. I forgot to change this. There we go. Now I'm on the screen. Yeah, so we were talking, we started a new program that if you order $30 or more, we'd give you a free 30-day copy of the software. And there's no restrictions on it. It does everything the full version does. And the cool thing is you can do it month after month. So next month, after your 30 days are up, you can order again, another $30 worth of anything else. Doesn't have to be RockSim, doesn't have to be software, just anything. You could be rocket motors. You need rocket motors. I know you need rocket motors. And we're stocked up on rocket motors. So you can order another $30 and get another 30 days. So essentially, if you just keep doing that, it's virtually free. And you need those rocket motors. I know you need them. Yeah, so that's RockSim Pro. Again, we have the free Christmas tree topper. We've been shipping out a lot of these. So it looks like this. It's made out of cardboard and a tube, and it goes on top of your tree. They look pretty nice. Everybody around here wants one too. They've been taking them home. So yeah, grab up that free Christmas tree topper. We still have ornaments from previous years available. They're all got a date on them, so you know what year you got it. So kind of like a memory of what happened during this year. And that's why we do that, is just to kind of memorialize, all the things that we did. When you see an object, it kind of reminds you of something else that happened at that time of the year. Like when I see these, the other ornaments, like this one right here, that was the COVID year. And we all remember how that was. Yeah. So, yeah, if you do not have RockSim yet, again, you can click on the home page. There's the launch visualizer at rocksim.com. We may talk about that today. There's the Tree Topper, RockSim Pro, RockSim 11. So this is the latest version of RockSim 11. We have a 30-day demo of this, but after 30 days, it expires. Where the demo of RockSim Pro, you just keep doing it, month after month. So that's actually a better deal. And we're basically trying to get people to go to RockSim Pro because it's so much better, I think. It's got a lot more features. And then just seeing the 3D launch visualizer inside of that is game changer for me. Being able to figure out where your rocket's going to land is definitely worth it. Yeah, so if you go to how-to and guides on our website, come down here to software, click on software, and we have video tutorials on how to use it. There's also some on RockSim Pro. They are very much similar on how you use them, except for the additional features in RockSim Pro. So if you've learned RockSim, picking up RockSim Pro is going to be pretty easy. There's that free trial. You can purchase RockSim 11, clicking on that. There's the frequently asked questions, system requirements, and version history are all here as well. Let's see, who do we have in the house? We have Gino from Boise and Liam Martin from Colorado Springs. So that's like right down the road. Somewhere really close to us here in Colorado Springs. But I have no questions yet from people. Where are you people? Where are your questions? Those of you that are watching, I'm talking to you. If you can hear my voice, I need a question. Yeah, hopefully you can hear my voice. I think, is the microphone on? Yeah, it appears to be on. It might be a very short episode today. So what I've been working on, let's see, I'll bring up RockSim Pro. As you can see here, here's that Spaceship 2-ish design. Been playing around with that. I do have the built version right here. Break it up. Can you see it? You can only see part of it. It's identical, and yeah, it's made, designed around a 3-inch tube, 3-inch nose cone, and it has 2 side pods, and these are BT55 each. And it's got balsa wood fins here and basswood here on the tails. It's got 5 nose cones, so there's the main one here plus 2 on each of the pods. It does not glide. It's designed to just, parachute eject. And there's something I can show you here on, this is the Spaceship 2-ish is the name of that. And let's save that. Let's run a simulation. So let's throw in, I'm looking at these previously run simulations from Martin, and a G25 puts at 2,200 feet. Wow, that's pretty good. It's a pretty light rocket. It's mine that I built was only like 500 grams. On this one here in the file shows 522, so it's like really close. Let's see. Let's launch it. Let's put in choose an engine, and let's launch it on an F first. I want to see what's kind of like the lowest power F that I can put in there. I don't want to use an Estes E15 because that's like, let's try it. Estes F15, I'm sorry. And the delay, let's make it a 6-second delay. Under flight events, let's go with deploy a maximum ejection delay. Starting state, we're on an 8-foot long launch rod or launch rail. It does take the rail because it's got rail guides on it. We're angling at 9 degrees away, and we have the angle direction is 134, which is, if this is a compass right here, it's kind of the southwest. Under launch conditions, I'm not sure where this is launching from, but it's pretty low altitude, 200 feet. Let's see what it looks like. So hit the flight profile, and it will run the simulation, and then we'll just see, are we going to be an okay launch? This is the launch visualizer. It's loading, and I don't have any maps in the background. Yeah, so we don't know where we are. But it's only in the air for 34 seconds, so it's taken off. It didn't weathercock too much. Still going up, coasting. There was Apogee, and now it's coming down. Let's bring it all the way back down to the ground, and let's go to a trajectory. Just kind of see what the trajectory looked like. The launch point was right here where my cursor is. It went up to here is Apogee, and this red line is the ground track. So now we're not seeing any maps, any terrain, so it's hard to tell where we are. We're somewhere on this globe thing. Why don't we have any maps? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because there's a lot of people using RockSim Pro right now, and we have a problem with Google. We reached our allotment of map tokens, and it seems to be happening almost every day now, and we're trying to get more, but Google wants us to put their logo on the maps. And we're trying to do that right now to make Google happy. And once they're happy, they're going to give us more map credits. And then we can display the map. So every day we get a certain number. And I can tell if I'm not seeing, the surface area in the maps, in the ground, it means a lot of people are using it. and they're just sucking them all dry. Oh well. Yeah, we're working on that problem. It's a high priority. I mean, because we're giving away the software for free, basically, essentially free, and people are using it. And you know, you still got all the other features, but still, that's like the major feature to use it. We have Gino. Yeah, I said Gino's here. We have 2Explorer 828. He says he's David from Michigan. He says it's cold and snowy. Tomorrow's launch is postponed until next week due to wind and wind chill. I'm sorry. Yeah, we don't have we had a launch last week, and it was nice weather. There was snow on the ground, but it was sunny and calm, and it did warm up during the day. It got into the mid 40s. And with no wind, it was a beautiful day. I mean, I was just wearing a sweatshirt. And my rockets were landing in the snow, but it's okay. Anyway, so that F-15, so basically, you know, was that F-15 any good? So it deployed at 581 feet, and it went to a maximum altitude of 600 feet. Maximum velocity of 100 miles an hour, 106 miles an hour. That's not very fast. What I'm looking for is the velocity at launch guide departure, and that's this column right here. I want to see that number above 30 or really close. 23 is too slow. So I would not launch this rocket with that F-15. So let's try some different motors in here. See if we can have a better choice. So the 15 is too low. So if you know your motor designations, the F stands for how big the gas tank is. So an E is 40 to 80. So an F is 80 Newton seconds or more, I think. 40 Newton seconds or more, I'm sorry. So 40 to 80 would be an F, and a G would be above 80. So it's kind of like a measure of how big your gas tank is. The bigger the number, the bigger the tank. And the bigger the tank of gas, the further you can go, the higher you can go in general. And then the 15 stands for the average thrust level in newtons. So I always tell people, think about it as how hard you're putting your foot down on the accelerator on your car. The harder you push, the bigger the number. And the harder you push, the faster it's going to accelerate and the faster it's going to go. So we have determined that at the F-15, that 15, we're not pushing hard enough on the gas pedal. We're not using it fast enough. So we need a bigger number there. So let me sort this by engine code. And so our next one up is an F-20. So let's run that and see if we can get to closer to a liftoff velocity of about 30 miles per hour. And so I'm just going to launch it real quick. And yeah, oh no, yeah, right here. Our liftoff velocity is at 39, almost 40 miles an hour. So that actually is a good motor. And, you know, even though they are both Fs, this one almost goes twice as high. So how does that happen? So if you look at it, let me go back to here. It's at F20, and if I can click on the F20, it says it's got 60 Newton seconds of total impulse. And I bet you another thing, when we ran that first simulation, if we looked at the trajectory, remember it didn't go quite straight. It kind of arced a little bit. Wasn't much, but it was enough to make that difference between 580 or 600 feet altitude up to 1048. So another 400 feet of altitude gain by switching to that F20 motor. The optimal delay is 6 seconds, so that's okay. Time to burn out is 2 seconds. Velocity at deployment. Okay, so this velocity at deployment. Oops, let me cancel out of this. Velocity at deployment is 39 miles an hour. So that's, I want this number below 50, but the lower it is, the better. I mean, is like when the parachute comes out, you want it, ideally, your rocket to go up, hit a dead stop, then your parachute comes out. And the reason for that is it's less stress on all the strings and on the shock cord because you don't have any forward velocity in any direction. So I want to keep it under 50 miles an hour. So imagine driving down your road at 50 miles an hour and you throw a parachute out the window. It's like, that's moving really fast to be throwing a parachute out. So we want that number as low as possible. We could get it lower if we had the 6-second delay. So if we do another prepare for launch, and this time we change the ejection delay. And where did I see that number? And that number was right here, optimal delay, 6.03 seconds. So 6.03, hit the tab key, hit launch again. And see, now we have the F20-6.03, and our velocity is lower. It's still not quite low enough. And that kind of tells me that if I look at this arrow here, that tells me that the rocket was going downwards when it deployed. But that's the optimal delay. That's like right at apogee. So it tells me this velocity, it's not a vertical velocity, it's a horizontal velocity. So the rocket somehow went sideways. And that's what you would see in the launch visualizer. You click on that button. You open it up, and I'm just going to zoom it all the way, right here. And if we zoom out and go to trajectory view, and if I spin it around, so we're looking at it from the side, whoops. Okay, so imagine here's the launch pad right here. It arced over into the wind. See, it had velocity going sideways, kind of towards the west. And that's where that 34 miles an hour came from. The only way to prevent that is to make it sure it doesn't weathercock. And there's two things you can do. One is a higher thrust motor. Again, push down on that accelerator pedal faster so it just cuts right through the wind. Or the other thing you can do is angle it with the wind. So instead of angling it, we were angling this rocket, I think 9 degrees to the southwest. If we try to go to a straighter launch, let's see what happens if we do that. So you go to the starting state, and we want to change this to a 0. So that's this launch guide angle from vertical. It's 0 degrees, hit tab and launch. And yeah, look, now we got a velocity at 9 miles an hour. So now we're really slow. That's a good number right there. I can live with that. And that was just all because we didn't allow it to go sideways rather than vertical. Okay, Alfred Indy is here, and he says, it looks like the Lech jet that I am building in Michigan. This is not the Lech jet, this is the Spaceship 2-ish. The Lech jet, let me open up a browser. It's underneath this menu. There it is. There is the Lech jet. That's a beautiful rocket. Curtis Howe says, hello, he's in Utah visiting his brother. And he's watching RockSim live. What a better thing to do. David in Michigan says, Alfred Indy, is it in Clio or Birch Run? He's talking about the launch that was postponed. David H., he says, we have our launch next weekend and it's supposed to be in the 70s. I will be going for my level 2 with a lock Nike Zeus, 5.5 inches, 17 pounds. Well, congratulations. I wish you the best on that. That's going to be a great launch. No other questions. Nobody's got any questions today? What else can I play with then? What else have I been working on? Okay, let's, like I said, next week we're going to be releasing these tail cones. Let's design a new rocket using one of those tail cones. So to start a new design, you hit the new one up here. Save my changes. I'm going to say yes. Okay, so to design a rocket, we're going to go across these tabs, starting with the design attributes. And we're going to specify this one. What are we going to call this name? Let's say boat tail rocket. Let's spell rocket right. Man, oh man. There we go. Single stage, side view marker size. Let's make this a 0.5. This is the size of the CG and CP symbols. It doesn't do anything to the design. It's just so that you can see those symbols better when you do a big rocket. And this is going to be a bigger one. We're going to try a BT-80. So I am going to go. So right now we clicked on nose cone. And I need to find a BT-80, which is 66 millimeters. Do we have a different one? That's a 56. Let's see what this one looks like. No, that's not the one that I want. So go back to database, choose from database. Diameter. Estes there. That's the one that I want, the PNC 66. All right, so there's our nose cone. Let's change the color. What are we going to color this thing? Let's make it, this is the 3D color, so let's make it red. And the 2D color will also make it red. Okay, so we got our nose cone right now. And that's okay. The next component we're going to add to the nose cone is a body tube. And now I'm looking for that 66 millimeter, which is 2.6 inches. So I'm going to scroll down to 2.6 inches. There's the 74 millimeter. There's the 66. So there it is. That's the one that I want. 66 millimeter nose cone, 66 millimeter body tube. All right, so next, let's color it, this one. So we had a red, and we'll also make it red, but I want to give it just a slightly different red so that we can tell where the nose cone stops and the tube starts. And in the 2D color, we'll make it that color there. And click OK. All right, so I'm going to save it so I'll throw it on the desktop. We're going to call this, what do we say? Boat tail rocket. All right, so it's sitting on my desktop now. It's easier to save. Okay, so now we need a motor mount. Actually, I think I want to extend this tube longer. So I'm going to add another body tube. Actually, I'm going to copy that body tube. And then simply select it again and then do paste. So I'm using the right click on my mouse to get that little menu. So now I got two body tubes. And I'm going to go to the second one. This one I'm going to make a little shorter. I want to make it 9 inches long. And so you can see that. And when I go to the color, I also want to make the color a little different, just so that I can tell them apart. So when I look at it in 3 dimensions, so that's this button over here, select 3D, and there's my rocket. And you can just see the slight variation in color, so I can tell them apart. But overall, it just looks like a red rocket. And all right, so now let's add some fins to this. So this time I'm going to go custom fins. And it looks in the database. I'm going to cancel out of the database. And then it brings up the fin editor screen. Let me make it bigger for you. And so there is the current fin. And this is a set of 3. And I'm going to go to the plan point. Well, I guess select the material. So let's make this. Let's make these out of basswood. And 1/8 inch would be 0.125 inches. And I don't like the shape, so I'm going to go to the plan points, and we're going to vary the shape. So right now it puts a generic shape there, and then you can go to these plan points and then adjust them just by clicking and dragging. And I'm looking down here to see if I like that shape. I like that a little bit better. So that's my shape of my fins. And we need to give it some color. So in 2D, let's make it orange. And then in 3D, let's make these black. Or a very, very dark gray. And click OK. Okay, so now we have the fins on the rocket. I don't know if I like that shape. We'll leave it for now. We can always adjust it later. All right, so let's put in some tube couplers. So we're going to need a tube coupler right here. So we're going to select this tube and then attach it. Here's the coupler button. And we want a 66 millimeter. So there's the AC 66. AC stands for airframe coupler. 66 millimeters in diameter. We'll click OK, and you can see that it put it right there at the base of the nose cone, or actually at the front of the tube that it's attached to. And so we're going to move it. We're just going to take that location slider. I'm going to change it from the base of the part. So now we're measuring from right here. And I'm going to change the location to, if I change it to 0, it only goes to here. But I know the length of this is 4 inches, so I'm going to say the location is a -2 inches from the base of the tube. It puts it right there. Let's change the color. 2D color, let's make it bright green. 3D, we'll make it red. You won't see it, but actually I want to make it a darker red. And click OK. All right, so we got a coupler there. So now we need an engine mount. So I'm going to select the body tube, come over here to inside tube, and let's see, we want a 29 millimeter. And you can see this is way too long. Let me make this screen bigger so you can see what's going on here. Okay, so you can see we got a 34-inch long tube, and it's hanging out here. I'm going to make this 7 inches long. And how do I know 7? Because that's the standard length tube that we sell. Okay, so now the 7-inch tube is not far enough out. So I'm going to change the location. In fact, I'm going to make it from the base of the owning part. And if I was at 0, there it is. But if I make it this is a negative number, -1 inch. and we'll hang it out the back. This is a motor mount, so we need to select that. See the color, let's make it a black engine mount or really dark gray. In 2D, let's make it that light blue. Oh boy, now you can barely see it. Let's make it something darker. All right, so there's our engine mount tube, and click OK. So now we want to add a boat tail. So let me go to the Apogee website, and let's go to the home page. And I had just put these new boat tails onto the website. So we want a 29mm to 66 boat tail. Now, basically what I want to get is some dimensions here. The length of this boat tail is 1.86 inches long. So that's what it looks like from, a 3D perspective. And then this is what it should look like on the rocket. And you'll notice that the engine mount tube sticks out the back, but I don't know what that is, but we can figure that out. So I'm going to just slide this off the screen here, and then what it did is it made it big. Okay, so here I'm going to select this body tube, and we're going to say we're looking for transition. Here's the transition button, and this is not in the database yet. And I'll show you how to do that because that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to add it to the database. Oh man, it does this. I hate when it does that. Okay, so the material, urethane, and it's not solid, it's hollow. I don't know what the wall thickness is. I'm gonna guesstimate 35 thousandths of an inch. All right, so now okay, so the front diameter is 2.6 inches because we know that's the diameter of the tube. And where do I see that? Right here. Diameter 2.6 inches. Hit the tab key. Now I got to get the rear diameter, and I'm not sure what it is. And if I go back to the Apogee website, it doesn't tell me. Also, it tells me it's a 15-degree cone angle. So I don't think I can measure that in RockSim. I could probably do it doing some trigonometry. I'm going to estimate it. We know it's going to be 29 millimeters. It's going to be bigger than that. So let's make it, let's call it 36 millimeters. And then the length of it, now this one I can get from the website. The nose length is 1.86 inches. And if I hit the tab key, you'll see that's the boat tail. And let's give it some color. We're going to paint it red. Click OK there. And then the 2D color, let's make it this color. Click OK. Still no other questions. I'm waiting. Oh man. Okay, so we got this tail cone. Let's go back to the general tab. Right now, it says the wall thickness is 0.035, and it's telling me the mass is 5.87. So this is a tail cone retainer. So actually the mass includes the base that gets glued onto the back of the motor mount tube, which is right here. So this plus this equals 18.7 grams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the wall thickness until this is closer to 18 grams. I don't think it's going to be like 0.09. .09 is 14 grams. That's like too big. So what I'm going to do, yeah, I'm going to leave that. I'll leave that. And this does have a shoulder on it. And I know the shoulder length is 0.16 and the diameter is 2.509. 0.16, 2.509. And you can see if I zoom in that, yes, it has added a shoulder to it. It's very small. And I'm going to click OK. So now the other thing I need to do is to move that body tube back. So it needs to go all the way to back to about right here, approximately 1/4 of an inch off of the back, because then we're going to put on the base and it gets glued on. So let's go body tube and edit this first. I want to make this longer. I want to bring it all the way almost to the end. Actually, I'm going to have to change the position. I need to go further back. 1.5, hit tab. Ooh, that's close. Let's go 1.7. Okay, so I'm looking at that distance there, and I'm thinking that's probably not enough to have the thrust band of the motor inside of this cone. So let's go to 1.6 inches. Let's see what that looks like. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now we said that this tail cone, what was the weight of it? 22 grams. That's too high. It should be 18. So go back to this one. And I want to change that wall thickness here. Let's make it 0.08. Now we're at 19, so it's a little bit smaller than that, 0.07. And so this is going to include the base as well. There it is. We're 1.75, I think. It's probably going to be really close. 18.74. This one was 18.7. That is like really close. Okay, we have Brian and Levi from South Bend, Indiana are here, and they said hello. All right, so now if I wanted to put that base on there, I would, since I got this tail cone that has the right mass already, 18.74 grams, I'd have to make this a little bit thinner and then add a base. So I want to get this to, let's call it 4 grams. So I want to get it down to 18 grams. 0.065. 16. It's not quite small enough. Nope. 0.05. So now we're at 12. Now we're too low. 0.55, 13.8, 0.56. There we go, 14 grams. Oops, cancel. So now I can add a mass object back here to account for the base. And to do that, we'll select the tube, because that's where we're going to attach it. Click mass object. Click cancel out of the database. We're not going to look in the database. And it's going to be a general mass. And we said it's going to be 4 grams. So there's the 4 grams. And now we just need to move it over to here, because that's where it's going to get glued. All right, so that looks good. All right, so we got that tail cone. Let's say we'll call tail cone base mass. Let's change the color. 2D color, let's make it orange. Click OK. Okay, let's save it again. All right, so we do not have centering rings in here, so let's add some centering rings. So I'm going to select this tube. I'm going to click on it and then say centering ring. Centering ring, there it is, right there in the middle. All right, I'm going to cancel out of database and just let RockSim calculate it. Now this one I'm going to call the front centering ring. And let's give it a thickness of 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch. So this is going to be made out of plywood, aircraft plywood, birch. So there's the centering ring. Let's move it back. Why is this locked out? Oh, that's the OD is that. We need to change the location. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put one right there, and I'm going to put another one back here. Let's change the color first. 3D. Let's make it dark gray again. And in 2D, let's make it purple. Click OK. So there's my first ring, and I'm going to do a copy and paste. So I'm going to copy, and I'm going to do right-click, do copy, and then where's it going to be attached? Same body tube, so we'll just do attach it there, and then paste. You can see it pushed both of them here. They're both called front centering rings. Since we copied one, it's identical in the dimensions and in location. So I'm going to change this one to rear diameter. And location, I'm going to put it right there, right next to the shoulder. Okay, click OK. Oh, I want to change the color. Let's make it that color. Click OK. Actually, we're doing pretty good here. The only thing we need is parachute and shock cord. So let's select this tube right here because that's where we're going to put the parachute. Come over here to parachute. I'm going to say 24 inch. We'll try that for right now. So there's the parachute, and let's change the location. And we can change the color, 3D color. Let's make it that color so it's easy to see on the ground. And in 2D, let's make it orange. Click OK. These fins do not have through the wall, so let's add that. So I'm going to go back to the fin set and then come over here to TTW, which stands for through the wall. Click on that tab. And I'm going to say calculate the tab depth for me. So then it measures from here to there. And now we need to set the tab width offset and the tab length. So the offset is how far it's offset from the tip of the nose cone. So I'm going to just move that back. And then the length of it, I'm going to grab that slider and just start adjusting it. So if I zoom in here, you can see that we're almost to the point where we're interfering, but I got a lot of room in the front, so let's change the location. And I think that's going to be okay, 0.125. Yeah, that should be fine there. And then the tab length. Changing the length just by sliding it. That's not going to work, so let's make it too far. Just on that side of the ring. Right there. And click OK. So now we have the fins have tabs on them, which makes it much stronger, which means we're going to have to cut slots in the tube. That's okay. A.B. Hobbs has a good question. He says, is it possible to have a mass object with the parachute and not be included in the descent mass? Yes. We'll get to there. And Terry Tiny House Homestead says, we are designing today a reindeer rocket. No, this is a tail cone rocket. I wanted to make a tail cone rocket. Let's look what it looked like in 3D. Hey, that's not bad. I like that. It's got a tail cone in it. This blue object is a mass object. It does it as a sphere. Yes, if we go back to 2D, you can see it's right there. And that is the base mass right there. Okay, so we have a parachute. We don't have a shock cord. Let's put in a shock cord. So again, I'm going to select the body tube. This time I'm going to go mass object. And what we want, let's cancel out of the database. And classification, let's say shock cord. And the material is, I'm going to make it 300-pound Kevlar. Let's go, yeah. And I want to make this quite long, so I'm going to change it to feet. And let's call it 15 feet of mass. It only adds like 5 grams, so it's nothing. And then here's the location. We're going to take this mass. Let's change the color. That's this. Let's make it greenish. And then we'll simply go back to location and move the location below the parachute, because you're basically going to wad it all up and shove it below the parachute. Click OK. We don't have any launch lugs on here. Let's put one on each tube. So launch lug, and we're going to say 1/4 inch by 3 inch. So right now, it put it right there, up by the front of the nose. We want to move that down to approximately here. What we want to do is to span over the center of gravity, but we need a rocket motor in there. Oops. I'm going to take, this is a 3-inch launch lug. I'm going to cut it in half, so I'm going to make it 1.5 inches. Put half of it here and half of it there. The location. And let's look at it from the base of the rocket, and that's interfering with the fin, which I expected. So let's go to radial position and change the radial angle. Let's make that 70 degrees. And the color, we got a red rocket, so let's make it red. And in 2D, make it pink. Click OK. So it's showing it right here. Now I want to duplicate it, so I'm going to do copy. And I'm going to go to this body tube and say paste. But remember, it puts it where this last one was located from the front of the tube. So the front of the tube is right here, so it has to go that far back. So for this launch lug, the front of the tube is here. So again, same distance from here to there as from here to here. Okay, so I'm going to edit the location of this, and I'm going to go back to the side view. And I think I want to put it like a lot further forward than this. All right, click OK. And now let's load a motor. Choose an engine. Aerotech F27. I don't know how long the delay should be, so I'm going to select the longest one. Click OK. Flight events, deploy a maximum ejection delay, launch conditions, same as before. And let's just launch it, just to see what it looks like. Oh. Well, it's not looking like what I wanted it to look like because I wanted to see terrain, and we're not going to see that. So there's the launch lugs on the side of the rocket. And you go to a trajectory view, and then launch. It says we're going to be in the air 11 seconds again. Again, we're arcing over. And then coming down. It's not terrible. All right, so we're going to cancel out of that. So this says time to burn out. Optimal delay is 1.3. Ooh, I had a F27-0. I wonder why it didn't go very high. So let's do that. Change that. Oops, wrong one. Go back to load engines. Or double click on it. Or go to prepare for launch. F27. Let's go with an 8-second delay and launch. All right, so it went a little bit higher. Optimal delay was still pretty short, 3.8 seconds, 3.08 seconds. And yeah, that looks fine. Velocity at deployment, that's pretty high, so it must be arcing over. Again, we can come here to the launch visualizer and at least see what the trajectory looks like, even though we don't have any maps. So my rocket is right there. Launch. Yeah. Oops, lost my microphone. Okay, so I'm just trying to see what's going on here. That's not terrible. All right. Okay, so the question was, how do you add a mass into the rocket that basically is like ballast, and we're throwing it out? So the only way to do that is to do it like a strap-on booster pod. And you can put it on the inside of the rocket, and then at ejection, it's ejected out. Alfred Indy says, I'm just reading this other question. I should answer this one first. So let's build this into it. So the question is it possible to have a mass object eject with the parachute and not be included with the descent mass? So we're going to go back to the rocket design components. First, we got to figure out which tube we're going to put it in. So we're going to put it into this one. Click on that, then go here to, we are looking for pod. There's pod. So a pod is a placeholder we're going to attach other parts. So right now this placeholder is right there. We can move it to here. We can adjust the radial position here. And we're going to uncheck both of those. And right now the radial distance from the center line, since this is a 2.6-inch tube, half of 2.6 is 1.3. So if we want to move it to the center line, we need to make that a 0. So now it put it inside the rocket. And we'll click OK. Oops, I needed to go back to there. There's the pod. And I say this pod can be ejected during simulations. So when the parachute comes out, it will eject. I think so. Let's click OK. Now we're going to add a mass to this pod. I want to do mass object, but it's not letting me, so the next closest thing is a body tube. So this is going to be a cylinder-shaped mass. I'll make it 13 millimeters in diameter. You can see right there is this tube. and it's 18 inches long. Right now I'm going to make it like 3 inches long. And I want to, its current mass is 0.918 grams. I want this thing to weigh a lot. So I'm going to change the material to steel. If I change it to steel, now I got 6 grams. And to make it heavier, I'm going to make the inside diameter 0. And now we're at 88 grams. Like, that's way too heavy. So 2 inches. 2 inches, we go down to 58. I wanted to like 20 grams. So 1 inch, 29 grams. Let's make it 0.6, 0.65, 0.655. Let's make it 0.66, 669. Oh, we're so close, 0.67. I can't get this to 20 grams. 6.8. There we go. 20 grams. So we got a mass right here. Let's change the color of it. Make it orange. And in 3D, let's make it purple. Okay, so there's this mass inside the rocket, and it's going to eject with the parachute. So right now, our rocket, holy cow, weighs 904 grams. Why does it weigh so much? What is heavy in here? Oh, this tube coupler. Let's see, that's how you find out what's too heavy, is you look through the parts list and you see what's heavy. So this tube coupler, what's wrong with this? It says right here, the mass override is on. So let's go to mass override and uncheck that. Now that is 19 grams, so that's okay. Okay, so now our rocket mass is 386. That still seems kind of heavy, but we got a rocket motor in there, and I don't see anything else that seems out of line. So we got the pod and this body tube. Let's change the name of this to just drop mass. And click OK. All right, so now let's launch this rocket. And before, okay, so now we're going to 1,280 feet. So now how do we know that the drop mass fell out? So you got this one, you're going to have to go to the graphs. So you're going to go to the graph, and we want to go along the x-axis, let's call it time. And on the y-axis, let's call it altitude. Where's altitude? Altitude above ground level. And then we also want to do mass. So here's mass. And we want to go this at the end of data and plot the graph. Okay, so I'm looking at this mass curve. So we went from 386 down to 350 something. So that's, how come I'm not seeing liftoff here? I need to see a thrust curve as well. Let's see, where's thrust? Total thrust. And let's make total thrust a blue line. Okay, then plot the graph. Okay, so what I'm looking at, I want to zoom in here. I can't tell. So here's the thrust. It takes off, and there's some thrust, and then thrust drops down to 0 here. And so here's burnout. And then we have apogee. Where's the ejection? It should be ejecting right at apogee. I'm not seeing, I should see another, oh. I should see this at deployment, recovery device deployment right here is this blue line. So this is when the drop mass should drop off. So what I should see is the mass come down and then drop another 20 grams. So it didn't drop out. Why didn't that pod fall off? That pod should eject. Why isn't the pod? There's nothing to kick the pod off is what's going on. I need to put a motor into that pod. Oh boy, we're going over time here. So this is where I do a fake motor. So I got this tube right here, which is my drop mass, but I got to put a motor in it because the motor is what tells it to drop off. But on this motor, I don't want to provide any thrust. I just want it to have an ejection charge that pushes it off. And we have a special motor in the motor database called a fake motor. So, and I'm not seeing it here, so cancel out of that. Let's go back to my components. My drop mass, I can say that this is a motor mount. And then we click OK. And now we can add, if I go back to the motors, I can say my drop mass, I can load a motor into that. And if you do that, you'll see the fake motor. So what's special about this fake motor is it's got very little burn and almost no total impulse. So I can't make it 0 total impulse, but I can make it 0.001, which is kind of like not even a puff of air. So when this fires, it is going to, oh shoot, I got to make this a 2-stage rocket. It's going to kick that motor off. So right now, both of these motors are set to fire at the same time at liftoff. I think I can do it another way. So if I go to this Aerotech motor, I hope this is not too confusing. This is a really good question. So this one has a burn time of 2.42 seconds. And then we had the ejection. Yeah, we had the ejection of 8 seconds. So it was 2.42 plus 8 would be 10.42 seconds. So on this one, I want the ejection delay to be 10.42 seconds. So that this one, they're both going to ignite right at liftoff. They're both going to take off. And then at 10.42 seconds, right when the regular nose cone comes off, the other one is going to kick out and deploy that drop mass. I think it might have to be a 2-stage rocket. Let's see what happens. Say launch. I don't think that worked. So let's go back here and plot the graph. Oh, I guess it did work. Look at that. This is exactly what I wanted to see. So the black line, this black line right here, is the weight of the rocket. So as the rocket was burning the propellant, you get this part of the line. And then the rocket is coasting until ejection. So right at this light blue line is the ejection charge. and then it dropped another 20 grams. And it just kicked it right out. And so now we're seeing the rocket descend at this lower mass. So I did it. That actually worked. Oh, that actually worked. Thank goodness it worked. Because otherwise I would have had to build a 2-stage rocket, and I didn't want to do that. So that's the only way you can tell it actually worked, though. That was a really good question. Oh, man. Tiny Alfred Indy says, throw up your candy cane rocket design, and he says it's coming. Mark Sell says, unfortunately, I have experience in things not ejecting out of the body tube when they are supposed to. Like a parachute? I have that problem too. He said, there's another person here. This is Andrew Wissat. He says, hi, Tim. It's Andrew from over the pond in the UK. And he gives me a thumbs up. Well, hello, Andrew. I don't know when you just joined us, but now it's time for us to leave. Oh, man, that one gave me a headache. That was a really good question. So thank you for asking it. And that was, who was that? That was AB Hobbies. I like that question. That made me think. It woke me up. Whew. So, anyway, we should be back next week. So today is the 12th. 12 plus 7 is the 17th. Is that right? Let me open up a calendar here. No, today's, 12 plus 7 is not the 17th, it's the 19th. Yes, that is right. We should be back 19th. I'm not going anywhere for Christmas. We're going to stay here. And we should be back Christmas post day on the 26th as well. So we should be around all the way, and including January 2. So January 2 is on a Friday, and I plan on being around, so that's good. And then I got, my daughter has some more diving competitions in January, so I think there's 2 weeks in January we'll be gone. But other than that, I should be around. If you have questions on RockSim, just go to the Apogee website, hit the Contact Us button. You can send in your questions there. I can't think of anything else. So have a great week. For those of you that are launching tomorrow, have a great launch. And for those of you that are snowed out, David, I wish you better luck the next week. So I'm going to give you a countdown and we'll get out of here. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go out and launch something.